So, we start off. Mr. Bond's video begins with a reference to the fact that men are supposed to have the intelligence to build computers or create them, motor cars and aeroplanes and all sorts of things. Well, there's a bit of a misconception going on there, because there is no supposed about it. We do have that intelligence. I'm using it right now. Anyone who has done any kind of podcast or even wrote a CV out in a word processor, obviously typewriters don't really count, but a word processor of any description, even if it was just notepad.exe, it's all technology, it's all real, it all exists, and it's physically tangible. It's there, right in front of you. There is no supposed about it. However, Mr. Bond's driving force to try and basically insult men is pretty evident, because even when there is something right in front of him, he still says supposedly. To me, that doesn't wash. Not when it's so blatant, tangible, obvious, practical, real, physical. It's all there. Okay, I'd like to address the fact that the human male does not just fight or become violent to solve problems. Maybe you got a massive argument going on, and this does happen. You can pretend otherwise, but it does. And in your argument, it gets heated, and you take a real good slap across the face, and you think, oh wow, that stung. Now, myself, I don't go around hitting women, and I take the presumption that neither do you. But what makes it that they have this entitlement to hit men? Men are expected to not retaliate, and so it is now. We're at the point where on the television we see men being belittled and beaten very, very frequently on television, as if it's all part of normal day. My point is, by and large, when men go to war or turn to violence, a lot of the time it isn't over something petty. Women incite violence between men. You know, the woman's in the middle and she'll play one guy off another. That happens. We've all seen it. But often these men now go to war to save the women in their life, their daughter, their mother, their wife, their sister, their niece, their grandmother, etc. They may also be going for the men in their life, their brother, their father, their uncle, whoever. But the difference is that all of those men in their life are there for the same reason. His brother is fighting to save his wife and his daughter and maybe his son, but depending on the age, his son is probably going to be right there with him defending his wife. There's a lot of violence that is done in the name of protecting, not just simply solving some silly problem. You know, it's a bit silly to suggest otherwise. Mr. Bond also points out that women have their maternal instinct. He fails to note that men have a paternal instinct. Now, I think there's quite a difference between the two, and that doesn't mean one is better and one is worse. It doesn't mean one is black and one is white. It's nothing like that. This isn't Star Wars or anything. This is people. This is planet Earth. This is nature. And there are two sides to every story, of course. But what I know is this: a woman's maternal instincts begin early on. You could probably say they go back as far as the point where she is brooding. She wants a baby, and the man might not. He might. Who knows? So often in this society, who even cares? Isn't that right? Anyway, she wants a baby. By one way or another, she gets pregnant. It might be, Honey, I forgot to take my pill today. Or it might be, oh yeah, just drop the condom in the bin. It'll be fine. I won't pick it up. Promise. We don't know. Or it could be a joint decision that happens too, though less and less. And anyway, her maternal instincts kick in, and off she goes. The baby's in her womb, and it's living. It's picking up on things. It detects her voice, and it basically begins learning straight away. As soon as the nervous system is in place, it begins learning and fathoming out, number one, itself, and number two, its environment. One of the first things it's going to hear, aside from the bumpity bumpity bum, is going to be Mummy's voice, and the baby is like, oh wow, that's my mum's voice. Yay. So there you go, right? Bond knitted instantly. Her nurturing is going to be aimed toward the bringing up side, you know, playing along and stuff like that, teaching to read maybe, if they're lucky, things, you know, that sort of stuff. Now, here is an example that I know from history with myself. I don't mean me as a child, I mean me as a father. I have been there at the birth of all three of my daughters, and truly is awe-inspiring to see it. It's phenomenal. It's excellent. Anyway, when they're a bit older, you know how it goes. They have their restless nights and stuff like that. Now, if they fall over and you know they're out playing, and they fall over and they graze their knee, they come in. Who do they want? Mommy. Oh, repair me. That's how it works. But when they have a nightmare at God knows what time in the morning, it isn't Mommy that they wake up screaming for. It's Daddy. And why are they doing that? Because they want protection. They want to know that the man that they look up to is going to be there to save them from whatever evil demon they are experiencing in their mind at that time. Now you look at it all the way around the world and it's the same thing. The men will always protect the women and the children. We are protectors, not abusers like you pretend. Protectors. There is a very clear difference. Now we all know children are bluntly honest and severely lacking in etiquette sometimes. And if they can see this truth, so blindingly obvious, that they will scream out in the middle of the night and shout, Daddy, 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 save me, Daddy, instead of Mummy, 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 save me. I think that, for me, is proof enough of my role in my children's lives. And I find it very insulting that you would just look upon every man on the planet as being an abuser. It's pretty disgusting. You really should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know what it says about you as a man, but I find your perception very degrading and insulting.